venerable monks and the nuns, dear devotees. Thank you very much for having invited me once again to meet you and discuss with you, and for us to know what you are doing here, how you try to cultivate your religious way of life and to follow the peace message of the Buddha. So this morning you have given me a topic to discuss, to know who the Bodhisatta is. You pronounce in Chinese Bodhisatta. The same word, Pali and Sanskrit language, the Bodhisatta, you pronounce as Bodhisatta. Bodhi means wisdom. Satta means person. Person who is working so hard to gain supreme wisdom. That person is called Bodhisatta. According to Theravada traditions, there are three kinds of Bodhisattas: Sāvaka Bodhi, Pacceka Bodhi, Samma Sambodhi. Those who are going to attain Arahanta, Sāvaka Bodhi. Those who are trying to attain Pacceka Buddha, Pacceka Bodhisatta. Those who are going to attain Samma Sambuddha, Supreme Enlightened One, is called Samma Sambuddha Bodhisatta. Then there are 10 paramitas, 10 perfections they had to practice. It will take a long period. Period means life after life, life after life. Because the evil forces were dominating our mind are very deeply rooted into our mind. That is why it is very difficult for us to get rid of them, uproot them. Within one lifetime, sometimes only one of our human weakness or defilement we will be able to suppress, control and eradicate. According to Theravada Buddhism, there are 10. Dānaṁ, Sīlaṁ, Nekkhammam, Paññā, Viriyena, Pañcama Khanti, Sacca, Aditthāna, Metta, Upekkhā. 10. According to Mahayana system, they have summarized into 6 kind of paramitas. But the same ideas we can find there also. First item is Dāna. Why the Buddha has introduced this as first item? There are 10 kind of meritorious deeds for people to perform. Also start with Dāna. Then 10 kinds of principles for rulers to observe, according to Buddhism, also start with dana. Why dana must come first? To reduce our selfishness and greed. By keeping selfishness and greed, it is very difficult for us to continue for further development of our mental energy or knowledge or wisdom or purity. So main purpose of practicing dana, the Buddha's advice is not to concentrate on worldly, material gain. Because many people offer dana thinking that they may get more in the next life, or they can go to heaven and enjoy their life. But the Buddha says, if we aim to gain sensual pleasure or material gain, we lower the real religious value of dana paramita. We have to concentrate on more a spiritual development to reduce our mental defilement such as selfishness or craving. First we have to cultivate that. Any Bodhisatta or anybody who is trying to attain salvation or nirvana, start with dana paramita, perfection. Then come to the second item, sila. Last night also I mentioned about this. That is moral development, mental training. Just now I mentioned our minds are very wild, full of evil thoughts. With so much of difficulties we are controlling them. Our jealousy, anger, cruelty, wickedness, selfishness, impatience, intolerance, all these are evil forces. Any moment when circumstances are there, these things arouse, flare up. Then we do not behave actually as real cultured human beings. What we talk, what we do, how we behave, through the influence of those evil forces. So, sila is the word used by the Buddha for our mental training. Now when you take the precept, 5 precepts, 8 precepts, 10 precepts, we use Pancha Sila. Sila means precept. The real meaning is training the mind. But all the others, followers of other religions, practice most of those religious principles as religious law, religious commandment given by the God. Buddhists do not accept in that way. It is not an order or law given by anybody. It is a universal law, natural occurrences. The Buddha used one word for all of them, dharma, cover up everything. Dharma means nature, phenomena, natural occurrences, universal law, not created by the God or Buddha or anybody. World exists because of these energies. So, when we want to practice to train the mind, we have to understand why we should train our mind. Not as a law, not because of fear of punishment from God, not because of hell, but by knowing the real religious value. By committing evil, by our mind, by talking, by doing something for our pleasure, for our survival, we misuse our mental energy. Then there is no precept, there is no seal. By knowing these things are wicked and immoral, we train our mind not to do. That is seal. By knowing these things are very important for our spiritual development, we follow them. That is seal. So seal divided into two. Charitra Sila, Varitra Sila. Certain things to avoid, certain things to do. Then, one by one, we had to train. One lifetime also not enough to train one, because very badly influence our mind. To control our mind, we had to train and train and train, not by force, through understanding. And meditation support us to calm our mind when the mind is influenced by some of these evil forces. Then we observe the precept, sila, for mental culture, mental development, mental purity take place when we develop sila. According to the Buddha, the whole Buddha Sasana, Buddha Sasana means the message of the Buddha, depend on sila, purity. Purity in the mind is the most important thing to maintain, uphold the message of the Buddha. This is the second paramita, perfection, that the Bodhisatta had to complete. Then comes the third item, Nekkhamma. Nekkhamma means renunciation. Worldly pleasure, worldly material gain, worldly commitment, we try to avoid. Then we get more chance, facilities for us to continue our spiritual development, because worldly life creates endless problems and troubles and difficulties. In another place, Buddha has mentioned, Sambadhoyang Gharavaso. Gharavasa means worldly life. Sambadha means obstruction. There are a lot of obstruction that we had to come across when we are leading a worldly life, business life, married life, and politics, and all these activities create endless problems. That is why they decide to renounce, keep away from them. Without renunciation, without reducing our attachment towards the worldly, sensual, material thing, very difficult for us to go further. Because the mind is dealing with them. When Prince Siddhartha wanted to renounce, there were a lot of obstruction from his father and the wife and other family members. So he had a long discussion with his wife and the father. Wife knew it is difficult for her to stop his renunciation. He is not going to renounce for his own faith, own sake, own freedom, but to do better service to everybody. That is the aim of his renunciation. Then discuss with his father, King Suddhodana. He said, how can you renounce? Because you will be the next ruler here. So you have responsibilities. Then this young prince told him, I am seeking three things. How to get rid of suffering. How to avoid old age. How to avoid death. I am seeking for these three things. So if you can give me these three things, I'll stay back. Then the father says, how can I give you these three? In that case, I had to renounce. Without renunciation, I cannot find out these three. That is the purpose of renunciation. Then he says, Sambadho Angaravaso, to lead a worldly life is a very difficult problem. Every day we had to face anger, jealousy, grudge, ill will, enmity, discrimination, argument, hot-tempered, fear, worries, suspicion. Every day we have to face. Then where is happiness? Then what is the use of this life? But when we keep away from worldly life, we can avoid many of those mental disturbances. Rajassa ayatanang iti. Worldly life becomes the main cause to create lot of dirty ideas in our mind. So by dealing with worldly life, we cannot maintain purity in our mind. Abhokaso pabbajja. Renunciation is just like a bird who flies in the space with freedom. Can fly either this way or this way or that way or this way, no problem. That bird never carries anything, only two wings. Migrate from country to country due to certain season. They never carry anything with them. They go there, settle down, try to find out something to eat, and stay. Complete freedom is there without any obligation, responsibilities, commitment. So one who has renounced is like that bird. No responsibilities. Complete freedom in the mind. No jealousy, no anger, no greed, no attachment. Mind is free. Now this is the third item. A Bodhisatta must practice this perfection, paramita. But every paramita, those three Bodhisattas must practice in three ways. Those Bodhisattas who are aiming to attain Arahanthood, one way is enough. That means donating anything for the well-being of others without expecting anything in return. That is enough for a person to develop his mind to attain Arahanthood. But one who is working to become Pacceka Buddha must practice two. Dana Paramita, Dana Upaparamita. Not only material things. He has to donate something from his own physical body. Now people are donating blood, eyes, kidneys. But those days also they had this system, donating blood and eyes. When we read Jataka stories, how Bodhisatta has done this. And one who is going to become Samma Sambuddha, Supreme Enlightened Buddha, like Gautama Buddha, must practice in three ways. First, donate his or her belonging, property, for the well-being of others. Then he or she must donate anything what he or she can from the physical body, either blood or flesh or eyes or kidney. Or also not enough for the person who is going to become Samma Sambuddha. Sacrifice the whole life for the protection or the well-being of other living beings. That is the most difficult thing. There are many Jataka stories where the Buddha, as a Bodhisatta, who has done. That means, at the risk of his life, he come forward to support, to release others. He knows he may die in the process of this run, but he will be happy if he die when he is trying to support others. That is called life sacrifice. He has done this on many occasions. So every paramita he had to practice in three ways. Sila, just now I mentioned, also must practice in three ways. First, observe certain principles. Then, observe certain principles, although the physical body cannot tolerate. Finally, he must practice his sila, although that may affect or sacrifice the life. Sila. All the 10 precepts, you must practice in this way. Then, next one is Panya. In Sanskrit, we say Prajna. Pali called Panya. You know Prajna Paramita Sutra, well-known sutra in Mahayana Buddhism, written in Sanskrit. Chinese translation is available. Prajna. Panya means not ordinary knowledge, extraordinary knowledge that we gain by developing this. That is called prajna. In English, we can say wisdom. Knowledge is one thing, wisdom is another thing. People have big knowledge, but they have no wisdom. They can misuse their knowledge, just like scientists. They had wonderful knowledge, but they misuse by producing weapons for destructive purpose. Misuse. That means no wisdom, only knowledge. So here, we had to develop our wisdom, but the knowledge here. It is difficult to gain wisdom, proper understanding, because our senses are not very clear. Our mind is not deep enough to penetrate into all these existing things in this world. So when you develop this, then we come to know what it is, what this life is, what this world is. Then we develop our wisdom. We come to know the real nature, reality of our life and the world and the universe. Development of the knowledge. I think you have heard this story. One day, when the Buddha was going somewhere, he met a Brahmana, Hindu priest. He has never seen such serene figure, features, complexion. He could not believe this is a human being. He approached the Buddha and asked, "May I know whether you are a god?" Buddha says, "No, I am not a god." Then any other form of supernatural living being? He said, "No, I am very natural." In that case, are you an ordinary human being? Buddha says, "No, I am not an ordinary human being." Now, confusion in his mind. He is neither God, nor an angel, nor a man. And who is this person? Then who are you? Then the Buddha answered. In his own language, he mentioned like this: Abhinyayang abhinyatang. I understood everything that which exists in this universe. He has done this life after life, developing his mind. Understood everything. Therefore, no one can say the Buddha does not know anything about this or that. So I understood everything. Bhave tabbanja bhavita. I have practiced all the great virtues, good qualities, principles, morals and ethics, everything cultivated. Also life after life. Kindness, compassion, unity, harmony, discipline, I have cultivated. Pahatabbang pahinang me. I have eradicated, uprooted all the evil thoughts, words and action. Completely stop creating evil thoughts, talking bad words or bluffing, cheating and doing something for his pleasure or for his living by violating, by breaking the precept. So, completely eradicated, uprooted all the evil forces from the mind, the word and action. Pahatabbang pahinam. Tasma buddhosmi brahmana. Therefore, I am not a god or angel or ordinary man. I am the Buddha. Now, how he into self-introduction. It's very important for us to know this. If anybody asks, now you follow the Buddha, can you tell me actually who he is? Whether he is a god or man or any other form of living being. This is the very clear introduction, self-introduction given by the Buddha, for us to understand who the Buddha is. Now, followers of other religions try to condemn the Buddha, saying he is not a god, he is a man. Now, if we say Buddha is a god, we reduce the real validity of the enlightenment of the Buddha. Why? A god cannot become a Buddha, or Deva, angel, or any other form of a living being cannot become a Buddha. Only a human being. That is why we are called Manushya, one who can develop the mind up to that maximum level, gaining enlightenment. So we do not follow, worship the Buddha as a god. Gods, Devas, Brahmas respect the Buddha because they have no proper religion. But they do respect the Buddha. Devati Deva. Sattha Deva Manusranam. We recite. Teacher of humans and Devas. The Buddha is the teacher of human as well as Devas. When Devas had some question, problems, they approached the Buddha and seek his advice. Because they haven't got that supreme wisdom. Now we can understand the nature of wisdom that we had to cultivate for as a Bodhisatta to cultivate and attain Samma Sambuddha. So, 3 ways he had to do that. First, he developed his mind to understand things. Then again, he had to sacrifice many things from his physical body to gain this understanding. Finally, sacrifice the whole life to gain this knowledge and understanding and wisdom. At the risk of his life, he had to cultivate his realization, understanding, to gain this wisdom. Now, Dhanang, Silancha, Nekhammang, Panya. Next one is Virya. Virya means effort. It is not physical effort. mental energy had to cultivate when evil thought appeared in the mind. Use or develop this mental energy not to accommodate this evil thought in the mind, but to suppress and control. Full mental energy. Again, there are many more evil thoughts not yet appeared in the mind. So develop this mental energy to stop appearance of some other evil thought. On the other hand, when certain good thoughts appeared in the mind, develop this mental energy to accommodate these good thoughts in the mind without allowing to disappear. Nurture. There are many more good thoughts not yet appeared in the mind. Then use your efforts to create more and more good thoughts in the mind. That is called effort, not the physical energy. Pure mental energy we have to use to handle our mind properly. That is called virya. Dhanang silanca bhavana. Dhanang silanca nekhammam panya virya. Khanti. Shanti. Hindus, when they pray, you can hear always they recite Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti means peace. Without any violence, without any calamities or evil, wicked, cruel thoughts, maintain some sort of feeling, very pleasant feeling of calmness in our mind. That is also not so easy to maintain this peace. Patience. Naturally, we are very impatient. Even when you drive a motor car, red light is remain without changing into green color, we have no patience, we grumble. So we have to train our mind to face such things, to be patient. It is a very good principle to avoid so many disturbances, violence, argument, anger. Patient. Be patient. Somebody come and scold you by using dirty words, and you are listening. You should not allow your mind to disturb your feeling by hearing all the dirty words that he used. Just listen. After that, the man who scolded is defeated, because he could not arouse the anger in his mind because of the patience. One day, Sariputta, the chief disciple of the Buddha, was scolded by using dirty words by a Brahmin. They are very angry with the Buddha and disciple. After scolding, Sariputta is sitting like a statue. Then this man cannot understand why he is sitting like a statue. Then he shouted, "Did you hear that I scolded you?" Then Sariputta, "Did you scold me? I didn't hear." Because when he was scolding, he diverted his mind towards something else. So this channel is not working, the ear consciousness is not working in this way, working with something else. patience. If we can develop this patience, we can avoid lot of problems and troubles and disturbances. As a Bodhisatta, the patience is very important. One day, a previous birth stories. A king was enjoying in a garden with some young girls, and the Bodhisatta was sitting meditating somewhere nearby. The king was very sleepy. When he was sleeping, those girls went to this Bodhisatta. He was listening, talking. When the king got up, he saw girls are not here. He has gone to somebody else. He was so angry, went to see this man, Bodhisatta, asked, "Why did you invite my girls?" Then Bodhisatta said, "I did not invite." The king started to cut his hand. Then Bodhisatta said, "You cannot take out my patience by cutting my hand. I have patience." Again he cut the other hand also. He said, "No, you cannot take out my patience by torturing me." Develop up to that extent the patience. A monk was meditating in his room. Some others were very jealous. They have arranged a gangster to go and kill him. He came when he was alone in his room, come and stab him to kill, and wanted to run away. The monk said, "No, you should not run away like this. You will be caught. You take my robe, by using this, walk slowly. Then you can escape." Can you imagine up to what extent he has developed his patience? Not to have ill feeling towards the person who tried to kill him. To him also he radiated his kindness and compassion for his protection. These are the paramitas. Up to what extent we had to tolerate this part. Patience. Dhanang silanca nikhammang panya viriyena khanti satcha. Truthfulness. Not to tell lies. Not to do slandering, carrying tale. Not to use harsh, wicked, vulgar words. Not to waste time by talking rubbish nonsense. There are 4 ways to guard our tongue. We are wasting our life using all these words, unnecessary things. Advice given by the Buddha is this: if you want to talk something meaningful, useful. If you haven't got anything to talk, better to observe golden silence without talk. When you observe silence without talking, you maintain, experience peace. I went to attend a very big function in Japan many years ago. Then we were invited to the flat home. There's a big curtain. Cannot see anything there. Completely silence. I thought actually nobody is there. When they opened the curtain, few thousand people were sitting there. Not even one person to utter even one word. Can you imagine? That is their custom. When they travel by bus or train or plane, they don't talk to each other or sort of thing. Either take a newspaper or magazine or book, read. If there's a very important thing, then they talk. This is advice given by the Buddha. If you want to talk, talk something meaningful. If you haven't got such thing, better to observe silence. This is also one of the paramita. Tell the truth. In Hinduism, there is a saying in Bhagavad Gita, in Sanskrit language, Satyat bhruyang priyang bhruyat, na bhruyang satyam apriyang. Tell the truth, nothing but truth. But if your truth that you are going to reveal is harmful, dangerous, can create violence, better not to tell. Because they can argue. We are not telling lies. It is true. Yes, it is true. But because of that truth that you reveal, create a lot of problem, violent disturbances. That advice is also important. You know so-and-so is cruel, wicked, bad, harmful. But if you reveal straight away, there will be a lot of violence, disturbances. We have to think very carefully whether to reveal or not. That is also a principle. Tell the truth. Dhanang silancha nikhammang panya viriyena panja khanti satcha aditthana. Strong determination, aspiration. I am working to gain or to attain either Arahanthood or Pacceka Buddha or Samma Sambuddha. Although there are a lot of disturbances, obstructions are there, never change that strong determination that they have created in their mind as Bodhisattvas. Others cannot change their mind. Even by torturing also they cannot change. By threatening to kill them also they don't change their mind. That determination still they maintain. Adittha. Metta. In English we say compassionate love or loving kindness. The word love can give so many meanings. But all these different kinds of love that people develop by expecting something in return. That kind of love creates a lot of problems. Take for instance, husband and wife develop love towards each other. But one expects something from the other, this one also expects something from the other. Otherwise they never love. Parents and children. Parents love their children. Children also love their parents. But both parties expect something in return. And you love your friend, your relatives. But in return, you expect something from them. I have done so much for them. If they don't do, you complain. I have done so much for him. He did not say even thank. That means you expected something. But if you love without expecting anything from them, That is called metta. The difference between love and metta. Again, when we love, there's a limit. We love only our own group, our own people, our own race, our followers of our own religion, but not others. If not, we love only human beings. No love towards other living beings. If not, we love all those living beings here in this world. We have no sympathy or love towards other living beings in this universe. Visible or invisible. In Metta Sutta, Buddha mentioned visible or invisible, or far or near. Any living being exists. We radiate our metta for their well-being, for their happiness, for their freedom, without expecting anything from them. That is the meaning of metta. Simply we say we radiate metta, but real meaning is this. Bodhisatta must develop this kind of metta. Otherwise, cannot become Arahanta or Pacceka Buddha or Sammasam. Then, Upekka, last one. Also difficult for us to practice. Without showing any discrimination, equality. We are all equal. No supreme, superior or inferior. Inferior or superior feeling is not there. All are equal. Makes no difference whether they are family members or relatives or friends or others or belong to other races, other religion, other countries. Without showing any discrimination, if we can cultivate this equanimity, that is the highest achievement. Dalai Lama made a very good statement. He has said, when I meet another person, I never think of his race or color or religion or his background. I feel I met another human being. No discrimination at all. So we had to develop our understanding up to that extent. These are the 10 kinds of paramita, perfection, that the Bodhisatta must practice, cultivate, develop life after life. When completed, either attain Arahanta or Pacceka Buddha or Sammasam. This is the method. Now there is a minor problem. Some people believe Bodhisattvas are entirely different type of living being. Just like Devas or divine being. The Buddha did not introduce this. Bodhisattvas we can find anybody, anywhere, any part of the world. Amongst animals also there are Bodhisattvas. Buddha, as a Bodhisattva, he was born as animals on many occasions. Because while practicing the paramitas, he has done certain mistake. As a result of that bad effect, rebirth has taken place as animal. Elephant, lion, rabbit. But when the energy of that bad karma is ended, again come back to the same normal life. not continue. Therefore, we had to maintain this with strong determination. So becoming a Buddha is not an easy task. To cultivate these 10 paramitas in 3 ways up to that level. Therefore, worshipping, praying, offering to Bodhisattvas, not introduced by the Buddha. But later, when Mahayana schools of Buddhism developed in India, they had some problems. People say, Buddha is dead and gone, attained nirvana. He is no more here in this world. So people can understand why should they follow. What do they gain from this dead Buddha? Just to console them, they introduce, don't worry. Bodhisattvas are there. They can attain nirvana, but they wait out of compassion that they have towards you, to guide you, advise you, lead you. Therefore, you had to worship, respect Bodhisattvas. Then people gain confidence and they were happy because they can understand that. Again, Mahayana schools of Buddhism introduce another name for the Buddha, Amitabha Buddha. Amitabha Buddha is not a historical Buddha. Like Gautama Sakyamuni Buddha, he had family, father and mother and everything. But Amitabha Buddha, there is no beginning. But they introduce Amitabha Buddha is there. Sukhavati, Pure Land. If you pray, worship, recite his name, all of you get the chance to reach there. From there, you can attain nirvana. And then people can understand. People never think, oh, Buddha is dead and gone. Buddha is living. That is why they always recite Namo Amitabha, Namo Amitabha, Namo Amitabha, Namo Amitabha. They believe the more they recite, more they are preparing to reach Sukhavati or Pure Land. Buddhism started to spread in China, Japan, Korea, Mongolia, Tibet because of these teachings. Otherwise they don't accept Buddhism. The Buddhism that Sri Lanka, Thailand, Burma practice cannot introduce in China, Japan, Korea, Mongolia and Tibet. You must understand this. Although the method that they have adapted is right or wrong, we should not criticize or condemn, complain. They remain as Buddhists today in this world because of this belief. Otherwise, they have become Muslims or Christians or as remain as free thinkers. So we should not argue. We should not condemn. I know a monk from Sri Lanka who visited Japan. Invited him to the shrine room where the Buddha image is there. Then kneel down to pay respect. But this monk said, oh, I cannot worship this Buddha. This is not Sakyamuni Buddha. This is not our Buddha. This is Amitabha Buddha. He did not worship. That is the weakness. Buddha is Buddha. Whatever name that we give, you can give any name, but the Buddha is Buddha. We can pay homage, pay respect in the name of the Buddha. We do not worship the idol, image. There's a very interesting story. 200 years after the Buddha, in India, there was a very well-known monk called Upagupta. When he preached, at any time, thousands of people assembled. Mara was watching. You know, Mara's duty is to obstruct the spiritual development. That is why he disturbed the Buddha also. Mara was watching and thinking what to do now, how to stop this. What he did, just the opposite of the temple, he organized a beautiful dancing, singing, merrymaking, very attachment program. Every evening when he started to preach here, he starts his show there. And those people who come to attend to his sermon slowly turn toward that side because very entertaining. Singing, dancing, merrymaking. Finally, Upagupta found out there was nobody to attend to his talk. Then he thought, no doubt he has disturbed the Buddha. But Buddha did not teach him a lesson. I must teach him a lesson. He also went there, joined with the crowd. Then, when he ended his program, he got up. In appreciation of your performance, I want to put this garland on your neck. Oh, Mara was so proud. Except. Then what happened? He felt this one is tightening like a python. Tried to pull out, cannot take out. They went to the Sakra, you know Sakra, king of the Deva. Asked his help, please help me to take out this one, otherwise I may die. He also tried and tried, cannot. Then Sakra told him, you must go to Mahabrahma, creator God, at that time. I think he is the one who can take it out. He went to Mahabrahma, he also tried, cannot. Then Mahabrahma told him, one who has put this garland can pull it out, nobody else. You must go back to the same person. Mara had to come down. Please, take out this one, otherwise I am going to die. Then Upagupta said, all right. Under two conditions. If you agree, then I will do that. He said, yes. First condition, in future, you should not come and disturb our religious program. Mara said, yes. Second condition, you have seen the Buddha. I am living 200 years after the Buddha. I have not seen the Buddha. I know you can perform miracles. If you appear as the real Buddha for me to see, then I will take out this. Mara said, yes, I can do that. Then he pulled out this one. Then what the Mara did, he appeared exactly like the same Buddha figure. But Mara said earlier, when I appeared as the Buddha, you should not worship me because I am not a holy one. But when he appeared as the Buddha, Upagupta worshipped him. Then Mara shouted, you promise you are not going to worship me? Then Upagupta said, I did not worship you. I worship the Buddha. Remember, it's a very good lesson. When people come and criticize, condemn, you are worshipping idols and metals and earth and rock and irons and... We are not worshipping to all these materials. This is the symbol for us to recall, to remember, invite the Buddha into our mind. Then we worship the Buddha, not to the idols. So, these are the things that we have to learn and think when others come and condemn or criticize, not to get angry, not to argue with them, not without showing any emotion, can talk gentle way, express our... When I go to give a religious talk, International Islamic University, there are Muslim students from 100 countries studying there. So I go and explain the Buddha and Dharma and the teaching principle. No argument. There is nobody to say anything against. Then the misconception that they had in their mind about Buddha and Buddhism, they withdraw. That is enough for us. So in future, they do not condemn Buddhism. They accept Buddhism is also a religion which is useful for human beings to lead a gentle life. Christian, Muslim churches, I go there, talk to them, they feel very happy. The way how we introduce the Buddha and his teaching without hurting them, without creating misunderstanding, they have nothing to ask. Last night also I mentioned a Catholic church that I gave a talk. Somebody asked, you say Buddha says like this, we say Jesus says like this, who is correct? Then I said, you can forget your Jesus, I can forget the Buddha, let us use our common sense. Example, the Buddha says we should not steal. Jesus says, thou shalt not steal. Do you think without depending on Buddha, without depending on Jesus, we cannot understand that stealing is bad? Why do we want to depend on them to understand that it is bad? The Buddha, Jesus, Muhammad, Krishna, all those religious people, they have reminded us. This Dharma existed. People have forgotten, misinterpreted, misunderstood. That is why Buddhas appear from time to time to reveal, to remind. After gaining enlightenment, the Buddha said like this, Pāturahosi magadesu pubbe dhammo asuddho samalehi chintit. This dharma that I understood after gaining enlightenment is not a new dharma, not created by me or by Buddha. Existing dharma that people have forgotten, neglected, misinterpreted. I understood. Therefore, I had to introduce the same original existing dharma. Those people who have mis-ideas, misconceptions. Dharma exists forever. But our understanding capacity is very poor. Therefore, we create our own imagination. When the Buddha appeared, or Jesus appear. They are religious teachers. Guide others. Show the correct path to lead harmless, gentle, happy, peaceful life. Therefore, we have no reason to condemn others because of our egoism, our selfish ideas, our jealousy. We discriminate others. The Buddhism is the religion that can tolerate all these activities without showing our discrimination. And last night I mentioned, when I went to Australia for my bypass operation in the hospital, I was not wearing the robe, only normal hospital dress. A lady came with the Bible and told me, your operation will be tomorrow. Now I had to perform a Holy Communion for you, for blessing. Then she recited the passage from the Bible and prayed for me. I said, Amen. Then the group of students from Malaysia who were studying in University of New South Wales, having heard that I am in the hospital, they came to see me. Although I was not wearing the robe, kneeling down, they pay respect to me. This lady is watching, she cannot understand what is happening. Then she whispered to one of these boys, who is this man? He said, this is our chief Buddhist high priest in Malaysia. My God, I never knew that. She came and apologized. Then I asked, why do you want to apologize? She have done very good service with good intention. I really appreciate as a Buddhist. That is the Buddhist attitude. If she has approached the follower of another religion, they say, kanu. Buddhists are like that. You know, when they have broken those two Buddha images in Afghanistan, 1,800 years old, some Muslims and Christians also approach us. And why whole Buddhist world is keeping quiet? So, I told, that is the uniqueness of Buddhism. If they have done this to another religion, violence, bloodshed, spread all over the world. Buddhists have courage to tolerate, have patience, not to show their discrimination. That is the uniqueness of Buddhism. Please remember. Okay, thank you very much.